Woo. Welcome to another episode from the battle to the glory. Yes, we are here. It is hump day, and know what? It is the best day of the week for us because guess what? We're here with you guys. We're trying to move in the spirit. Not only trying, but guess what? We want to encourage you to the utmost. We want to uplift your spirit in a way that nothing but joy comes from it. Not happiness, but joy. And so before we get into our topic, before we get into our conversation, we want to introduce our guest, Minister, Pastor Walter Morris. And then also, we got to introduce our Lady T, co-host, and of course, our brother in Christ, Rodney Glover, the host of Dad Mentality. How's everybody doing today?
Blessed. Glad to be here.
Sure.
Lady T?
I'm much better today.
I know that's right. Rodney, how you feel today?
I'm good, brother. Another day in paradise is happy, Woke up, life is still good. Everything's good, man.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna be honest and I'm always transparent. When y'all guys said you and Walt, when y'all said, "Oh, I'm blessed," come on, man, what's up? No, y'all didn't sound excited. Y'all was like, "Oh yeah, I had a good day." No, what's up? Nah. You come on, let's get Rodney. That's not how you always are. You come on, pick your spirit up before we get into this, man. Come on now.
My spirit is great, brother. I've been looking forward to this all day. I'm happy. Right. I'm excited. Come on, man.
Let me see some smiles or something. Give me some energy, man. You got your tea in you? You got your Red Bull or something? You need it, man. All right, Walt. I see you. Look, I've been watching you too, Walt. You different when you speaking now. Come on, pick that energy up. Come on, Walt. I'm glad to be here with you guys and listen. It's an honor to have you here, Walter. It's definitely an honor. And today's topic is interesting, and it's why are you trying so hard? And so before we dive into this, because he is the author of Why Are You Trying So Hard? Is the author of that book. And Lady T and Rodney, when you looked at the topic, what was you thinking? Like, what was going through your mind when you looked at the topic?
I'll let Lady T go first. Nah, because I got a sarcastic answer, but go ahead.
Yeah. You funny, that's all. Okay, so for me, immediately I thought the new heaven and new earth, the regeneration, the kingdom of God. I am here to say the things that renew, regenerate the consciousness, the creation of God, the divine order that God has been telling us about through the Bible and all of other scriptures. There is coming a new day, and I am trying to communicate that knowing that God has put in my heart for myself, the renewal of our heart, the renewal of our mind. It is for everybody. It will come upon our world, on every person. It will be a spiritual renewal. We are about to go into it. I feel like we're already in it. So I am trying to communicate the love, the divine order that God has for each and every one of us. And I'm human. I make mistakes. I say the wrong things. So I'm walking in the journey of knowing how God truly is working in my life and honing myself to know how to communicate and control my body and my behaviors. So I am trying very hard to allow the kingdom of heaven to come upon me and the words that I speak come to other people, that it will help them, that will transmute their life. I want to bring life and life more abundantly through my words. That's what I'm trying so hard for.
Okay. Rodney, let's go to Rodney because I'm gonna let you dive in. Well,
I don't even know how to answer behind that because I was way off. if that's where we was going with it, because I was just like, oh, here we go with Chef Dennis putting a vague question up there that I'm never going to be prepared to answer. So that's all I had. I ain't had nothing like that. I ain't know what that. Wow, that was a lot, Lady T. I
Sorry.
appreciate it. Nah, I appreciate it.
You know how
Now
yesterday was.
now I just feel unprepared. Now I'm like, yo,
All right, well, listen.
let me get ready. Hold on, let me strap in. Hold on.
Yeah, get ready. Get ready. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So Walter is the author of the book. Now, Walter, I would love for you to elaborate on why you wrote the book and the concept of the book. I read the book. I understand it. So I would like you to explain to the viewers and the listeners, why are you trying so hard? How did you come with that title?
Okay. Well, this book is the result of another book that I was writing that I thought would be my first book that I released to the public. This book was released on October the 6th. And prior to the releasing of this book, I was writing a book entitled Spiritual Bodybuilding. Faith is the workout, Christ likeness is the gain. But as I was thinking about that book and realized the depth that I was going in terms of explaining what spiritual bodybuilding is, so forth and so on, I just felt God was leading me to do something prior to that book. And I began to think about why are you trying so hard as a forerunner, if you will, to basically pave the way to get into something deeper. The book, Why Are You Trying So Hard, talks about this being a primer for spiritual bodybuilding workout, a primer for a spiritual bodybuilding workout. So the book talks about stretching before the real workout takes place. And we know in the world of athletics, there's a preseason that comes before the season. And in a sense, this book is like a preseason book leading up to something greater. Now, this book is small in content in terms of, should I say, small in terms of the amount of pages, but as far as content is concerned, it has depth. Okay, it hits hard. So as I feel being led by the Spirit to have a forerunner, that's how this book was birthed. And as I think about my spiritual journey, because if I'm not mistaken, your motto is life is a journey. Am I correct?
Yes.
Life is a journey. And I'm influenced in terms of what I teach and what I write based on my life experience, because I know that we all have our unique experiences, but we all have similar issues in terms of the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and being born again, being a Christian, we have that sin nature in us. So we have challenges. And one of the, let me say this, in terms of a journey, when you're on a journey, you need to be led by someone or something, because if I'm leaving from here to go to a state or a place where I've never been, I need either someone or GPS to show me the way. And one thing I always like to make reference to in terms of growing spiritually, we follow Jesus. So as we follow Jesus and as we're growing in grace and knowledge, as we're growing, we live life on levels. We get there in stages and we experience them in seasons. So if I'm being led by Jesus, he's taken me to spiritual levels, to new heights in which I have not been before. No matter where you are on your spiritual journey, no matter how many degrees you have, no matter how long you've been in the ministry or been a Christian, we want to go to another level in terms of our let's say the fruit of the Spirit or our spiritual gift. We want to grow. So one thing that we, in terms of being on our spiritual journey, we do things according to our own strength. In other words, we lean on our own understanding. We don't acknowledge God in all our ways so that he can direct our path. Mm-hmm. So we make that mistake, and more than we care to realize. And I can say, once upon a time, I was like that. I didn't realize I was going in the wrong direction. So if I'm going in the wrong direction, I need somebody to redirect me. I need somebody to show me the way. And because people will say, and I've hear people say, I'm trying. And now people will understand what they mean when they say that. All right. But once upon a time, I thought that way. But when I would say I'm trying, I didn't realize that I was talking in terms of my own strength, not following the leader. So if with that mindset, I'm trying, then I'm trying to do it apart from God's will for me. I'm doing it in my own strength. I'm not walking by faith and not by sight. So I'm determining the way that I should go. God gave me an assignment 30 years ago. Spiritual bodybuilding was spoken to my spirit 30 years ago. So that was before I was licensed to preach the gospel. So just going back that far, that was a part of my spiritual journey. And I always felt that life is a journey and I'm on a spiritual journey. So God brought me to this very place right here, this podcast, which is a part of my journey. I didn't ask to come on. You reached out to me. So God led you for whatever reason. Maybe you can speak on that. What led you to reaching out to me to be a part of what you're doing? So people lean on their own understanding. They don't rely on the Spirit of God to guide them. They don't rely on the Word of God to guide them. So they fall short of the glory of God and they lose their way. Now, we all fall short of the glory of God. We all still make mistakes. But when I think about my journey and the stuff that God brought me through, amen, I realize that without him, without me having enough obedience at particular times in my journey, I would not be here right now. And I believe that people can stumble forward. You know, a righteous man falls 7 times, but then he gets up. So I stumbled, but I did not give up. You follow me? So this book was inspired by, like I said, it being a forerunner for the next book to come out. But I also can draw from my own spiritual experience and realize there was a time when I leaned on my own understanding, and I am not totally delivered from that. But I'm not where I used to be. I realize that I'm more reliant on God. I have to be more reliant on God because of my spiritual growth. So go ahead.
So I want to ask you a question. So relating to what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you say trying versus, you know, when someone says I'm trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
To order to reach God
Mm-hmm.
and understand God, you have to try. And I understand the surrenderance. So in other words, you're saying you have to surrender under to God. And so you can hear God more clearly and you can understand the things you go to, because sometimes the things that we go to are self-afflicting. And so that's why we go through the things that we go to, because we do it because we're doing it on our own mind. We saying we're going to do it. So are you saying it just like that? Because when you say trying, because guess what? If I want to reach something, a goal, right, that is not in the will of God, but I try to do it and I add to what God has for me, is not working for God glory, or it's not? Which one is it?
Well, trying is putting forth effort. But
right.
My point is in as far as saying I'm trying, but are you mindful that you need God's help? Some people will say I'm trying, okay, but they're inconsistent with Sunday school attendance or church attendance. They're taking themselves out of position to be given the help that they need to do better. Trying is simply effort. But if we are growing in the grace and knowledge of God, if we are striving, we have to do it according to God's will. If we want to be crowned, we got to do it whereby God is pleased with what we're doing, because our footsteps should be ordered. I'm not saying that the word trying is or the thought of trying is a bad concept. Trying is simply effort. But when you think like that, what else? I mean, as far as your understanding, we want to, yes, say I'm putting forth the effort, but do you understand what it's going to take in terms of your effort being in the will of God?
Total surrenderance. Go ahead.
So I just want to try to make sure I'm following. I think I am. And what you're saying by a lot of different so trying, because I say to my kids all the time, stop trying and just do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of getting that same thing of why are we always trying? Like the thing is, if you are you ain't gotta try if you following God. You ain't gotta you know if you are following the roadmap that he's put in front of you, then you're not trying. I mean, you're doing. It's like once you've done something before, you're no longer trying it trying it anymore. In my opinion, and this is taken away from you. Like if I I can say I'm trying to make an omelet, and then I made the omelet. Now when I make it again, I'm not really trying. I'm just making an omelet. You know what I'm saying? So I guess you're trying to say why you're trying so hard opposed to just doing it, or why you're trying so hard at something that God has already put the blueprint in. You just got to follow the blueprint. Or am I oversimplifying it?
No, that's part of the process. You know, the footsteps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, right? So, and the word is lamp unto our feet and light upon our path. So the help that we need in terms of growing and progressing forward spiritually, it's all available to us. We have been given all things that pertain to life and godliness. So we lack for nothing. But once again, when someone says I'm trying, my concern is, okay, how broad is your understanding about what you're saying? What are you connecting your trying to? What are you connecting your effort to? Because if I'm saying I'm trying, then I have to understand that apart from Christ, I can do nothing, right? I can do nothing. So I should not be trying in my own strength. Okay. I should not be trying based on my own wisdom. I should be trying according to God's will for me. Being led by the Spirit. Yes, I'm trying.
Lady, you look like you want to say something.
Connection. What are you connecting yourself to? What is fueling what you're trying to do?
I like what you're saying, Walter, because I had a conversation earlier with a good friend of mine, and he was saying about the world is becoming more secular. And that was what was talked about in the Bible, that men would become more lovers of themselves. You know, they would want to not put God into their lives. And I think that is what people are awakening to. You know, there is a time of destruction and renewal, and we are going through that individually. And I believe that God is working in each and every person's life to show himself in their life. God is within each and every one of us. So even though, what are you trying? You're saying the trying word. I use trying all the time. I don't use can't. I will not say I cannot, because I remember how God says you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. So I understand your point. So it's being grounded, in the spiritual connection of the holiness that is guiding us and leading our direction. And I completely get what you're saying. I do agree with you that we need to be rooted in the spirituality, not religion, because religion is going to be obsolete one day. we're not going to be about religion. We're going to be about our Father's business. And it's going to be on a connection individually, because that's what we believe of the Bible. It's prophesied that it will happen. And we see certain things that are happening in the world as signs. So I get what you're saying. I do say I'm trying. I say I'm doing as well. I am in the motion. I am in the movement of what God has for me. I am led by God. I don't speak this all the time to everybody, but in the intent of my heart, God all knows everything. He knows my heart. He knows exactly how I feel. He knows my flaws. He knows everything that I need to work on. So I don't worry about that. But when we connect with people, it has to be conveyed in a way that can touch their heart and make them see for themselves that God is working in their life, and they need to take moments to pray and to be guided by God. You know, we have a lot of influence from the outside world, and we see a lot of things that happen that hurt our heart, because I went through it recently and it hurts my heart to see certain things. But knowing that God's purpose for each and every one of our lives is what we need to put our foundation on, that is our key. That is what we need to stand on. So I get what you're saying, and I respect it. You know, I look at that. I haven't read your book, but I know that you are going to, make that unfold into even something more greater, because there is something we must do to connect with God. It's not, it's not about material things. It's not about what we are trying to achieve in this world. We are supposed to sell everything that we have and follow Jesus. And that means a lot. We are not supposed to be attached to the material world. We are supposed to really trust in the Lord daily for our daily needs. And we, as people of consumers, we don't know nothing about that. And I understand it, what we're walking into, or how we're trying to, it's a trying thing now, because we are human in this world. So we all have a community of human beings all around us, influencing our behaviors and our environment. And so we got to kind of sometimes get out of the muck of the muddiness of how our minds can think negatively. So I won't keep going on. I'm sorry.
No, you good. Look, I got a couple of good.
I want to add to what Lady T said, because she mentioned the word purpose, and one of the challenges that people have is knowing their purpose. And people, and she, if I'm not mistaken, she used the word build on. And individually, we have a purpose. Individually, we are body parts, a part of the body of Christ. And I'm to the point where I know my purpose. I know my spiritual assignment. Amen. Which is spiritual bodybuilder. So people have to get to the point where they understand them, what God is working out in them, what God has put in their heart to do. And there was a time I didn't know that. Not until God spoke to me 30 years ago, just 3 words: spiritual bodybuilding. And that was like, I was in a particular setting, which I won't go into right now. It'd be in my second book. That's my second book, going to contain my journey, my testimony. So I go in kind of depth about myself. But we have to pay attention to what God is doing with us. We know that God is at work in us, both to will and do of his good pleasure. He has begun a good work in us. So I must become conscious of how God wants me to be, and allow the Spirit of God to build me up inside, so that there can be an overflow of what my assignment has been given to me.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that the world is getting the consciousness and the awareness now, or do you see it as we are falling, into doom and gloom? I don't know how else to look at it.
Well, I think it's a combination of both. Just look at the response to Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's been said that thousands of new chapters have been opened up. So that, in a sense, is like an awakening. And when I think about that, when Paul was in the Philippian jail, when he was behind bars, if you will, people, in the church start rising up because of Paul being in chains. So that ignited, God ignited something in them to pick up where Paul left off. So my point is that no matter how hard the world tries to stop what God is doing, all they're doing is causing God to spring forth other people, right? So it happened in the church at Philippi, and it's happening with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So as far as the darkness, I mean, darkness is prevailing in this country. This you know what's going on if you pay attention to what's happening politically. So that's undeniable. But at the same time, where darkness is prevailing, there's going to be light somewhere. There's going to be light. So God is still at work in the hearts of people. So no matter what the enemy does, God is going to have a remnant that's going to rise up and be about his business.
So you would agree that what we're seeing happening in the world today is like what's been prophesied in the Bible.
Definitely,
yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a few questions in his book that I want you guys to answer. Am I measuring my spiritual growth by surface progress or by deeper faith that forms Christ likeness in me? You want to read that again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead one more time. I think I got my answer already.
Am I measuring my spiritual growth by surface progress or by deeper faith that forms Christ likeness in me?
All right.
I would definitely go with by deeper faith in forming Christ likeness in me. I feel that I'm in the very beginning of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last 2 years, I started making changes in my life, and God has started opening up the doors towards that before I was unwilling to walk through. And so I really feel that I'm in the beginning of it. I definitely do not judge it by anything else but me in my conversation with God. You know what I'm saying? My time when I spend with him and the things that he's pushing me towards, I still feel like I have a long way to go. I have a long way to go, but I definitely am, and to be honest with you, I would say I'm in that bodybuilder phase. You know what I'm saying? Where right now I'm steadily lifting weight, trying to get that muscle built, because I've been out of shape for so long. Now, since we use it as, I like this kind of analogy, but since I've been out of shape for so long, I feel like I'm really keeping myself in the word, keeping myself in focus, keeping my conversations with God at all times. And when I have decisions, I make sure I go to him first. You know, I make sure that I take the time to I'm not rushing to do anything right now, you know, because I feel like I've made the decisions on my own so many times that I want to make sure that I'm not doing that anymore. You know what I'm saying? That I am taking the time to give it to God, to hear what he has to say, to respond in the way that he wants me to respond, and move in the way that he wants me to move. So, you know, right now I just feel like I'm in that phase, but I can see the greatness that is there later. You know what I'm saying? I just don't feel that I'm there, and I'm just happy to be in this position that I am right now, you know, where I'm steadily seeing what God has for me, and the blessings are running from me to my family. So, you know, it's a good place. It's where it is, you know, but I'm definitely excited to keep on growing and getting bigger and getting stronger in my faith with God and stronger in my walk with him. But one thing that I am very good at is not caring about anybody else. You know what I'm saying? And what they're thinking, or somebody's judging me or something like that, I'm cool with it. You can go ahead. It won't bother me a bit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I get that. And the thing about it is, and I'll be honest, and I've opened up before, you know, when I started this change, my biggest doubter was my wife. And if you know, if I can prove it to her, then I ain't worried about nobody else. You know what I'm saying? At this point, if I know that my wife understands that I'm really real about what I'm doing, then it just motivates me even more and keeps me straight on that path as well, to let me know that you know, now, before I had a wife that was not firm in it. Now I have a wife that prays over me. Now I have a wife that's with me in this journey. That's talking to me about this. We're doing this all together. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. So, you know, I'm just in that position there. So I think that answered the question.
Lady T.
I want you to say it one more time, but I will say both when I heard you say it, because you don't have to say it again. But I feel like I am seeing the evidence in my life from listening to God internally. I feel like my conversations with God, how I express myself, I take the time. Even when I'm washing clothes, washing dishes, there are things that I do regularly that I am having a conversation. You don't know my thoughts. You don't know what I'm thinking, but God does. And when I see the evidence in my life show me that He is there, it lets me know that I'm connected. You know, we're on the same page, and it makes me even makes me want to go deeper into, you know, having the connection with God because of the beauty and even the ugliness, because, you know, mysteriousness is God. Okay. We don't understand His ways. And I do not understand a lot of things. I don't understand. I just have to accept it. But I do respect the divine order that God has for each and every one of us. And we are in the age to come of the righteousness and the truth and the direct reign of the divine God. You know, we are in the way of becoming, you know, consciousness under the divine rule. We are becoming that, because it is supposed to happen for us. And when I think of God all the time, I'm being directed because of what I see. What I ask for comes to me. Seek, you shall find. You ask, it will be given to you. Everything that God said in the Bible, all those words are very true to my heart, because of everything that I've seen in my life and how the connection I have with God. I always, you know, try to tell people to have that spiritual connection, because the kingdom of heaven is within. It is truly within you. And your thoughts must be on God, the spiritual divine God, the holiness, the lovingness. There's only one divine loving God that you have to connect with if you really want to see the real change that God has for each and every one of us. And it's a beautiful thing, but we got to go through the muck and the guck. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we have our own shadows. I have a shadow. You have a shadow. I got to walk through all that. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. We need to have that in our soul. And I meditate, but yet I have days when I, you know, cry out to the Lord. Why? You know, why do I see all that I've seen? And it hurts my heart, because your people are perishing for lack of knowledge, you know, for they are doing things that are killing and destroying your kingdom. And it hurts sometimes. So I say both. I don't remember the question exactly, how word for word, but I'll say both.
All right. As I begin to elaborate on the question, the one thing I would say is, yes, I'm looking at the surface of the progress to deepen my Christ likeness in me. And I'll give you an example why I say that. It's because, listen, sometimes, you know, when I open the door for female or male, no, there is no thank you. But guess what? I don't do it for them. I do it because it's the loving thing to do. And so my agenda is to show love, even when I don't expect anything from them. And so that shows my growth, because guess what? I was at a point where I didn't do that. And so now I do not look for anything in return, because guess what? It shows the love of God in me, and not say, you know what? They didn't say anything. So what? I'm still going to do it. You know, even when I know somebody's doing me wrong, I still polite. I'm still saying good morning. I'm still doing the things that I'm supposed to do. not as a human being, but as a follower, as a believer of Christ, and they see that. And, when the enemy see that you're doing something of God, he's always lurking to try to pull you down. And you have to expect it. You got to see that. And so, my giving, my heart to do anything for a person, if it's in God's will for me to do it. I wasn't like that before. We talk about growth. That's growth, because guess what? I could care less. But now my heart and posture is different. So I show a caring, loving heart no matter what. If I have it, I'll give it and never look at it for anything in return from that individual. Even if it's family, it's like, I give money. I say, look, I'm not looking for it back. If you give it back, all right. But know this. I'm being honest and transparent. Know this. If I give it to you and you're not doing the right thing with it, you can't get it from me again. You can't get it from me again. And so when you look at growth, and when it says surface, that's the surface of it. That's just the surface of things. But when you look at the spiritual aspect of it, which is something deeper, and that's the kindness, that's the love that you show, even when the people that's doing you wrong, they're doing you wrong. They're back behind your back, and they lying, they cheating, they doing all those things. You still show them love. You still give them hugs. You still show them peace. And see, that's the spiritual growth of it. And so that's where I've came to understand it now, is that's how I see the growth. Because guess what? I'm not the same man I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same man I was 5 years ago. I don't even do the same things. It's the same things that I used to do 5 years ago doesn't even entertain me, because it's not of God. It's not spiritually. It does not feed me. And so I always say, things that you're around, the people you're around, you want them to pour into your life as well as you pouring into their life. So if it's not pouring into my life, I really don't have the love for it, because God doesn't have love for it. So I'm supposed to show the love of Christ by my actions, by the things that I do, how I walk, how I speak. Because the moment you step out of line and those unbelievers see that, they say, and you supposed to be a man of God and you acting like that, that's why I don't want to come to God. So it's important how you carry yourself, because you can turn away people from coming to Christ by your actions, by the way you speak. It will turn them away. And so it's important. God desires for us to be that shining light, that lighthouse. And so when I said all that, because that was my progress. That's my surface. Because guess what? I see where I've come. And I'm not going to say I did it. It's where God brought me from. Mm-hmm. He brought me out of the darkness to the marvelous light. And so I guess what? When you look back and you look where you came from, you say, wow, you begin to praise God. Thank you, Lord, for doing all those things. And I'm big on worship and praise. I told Ronnie, that's important. That's important about your growth. That's important about how you walk. You got to get into worship. You got to praise him, not just saying, Lord, thank you. It's more than that. It's deeper than that, because it's more of an intimate relationship. And so worship and praise is important. Some people think that's not. It is. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm going to go to the next question, because I'm getting which fruit of the spirit? I'm serious. Which fruit of the spirit in my life reveals maturity, depth, and endurance? Which fruit still needs to grow, do deeper trust?
Make me have to look up fruit.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead, brother. Yeah, come on, talk to me.
The very first thing that came to my mind was temperance, self-control, and that's something that I've been mindful of for the past several months, because I was tuned in to what God was doing in my life, and I knew that I had to allow him to bring me higher, right? So when I talk about that in terms of self-control, I had to become a morning person. I never really liked being a morning person. There's a story behind that, but I won't bore you with that. But I know I had to stop relying on the alarm clock on my my cell phone, to wake me up at 4:55 in the morning, because we have morning prayer on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 5 a.m. So I got to the point where I didn't need the alarm clock. I say that because I say self-control. I would lay in bed for 45 minutes prior to 5 a.m., wasting valuable time. And I realized that I'm not exercising self-control. I'm allowing my flesh to have rule over me at that point in time. So I began to get to the point. I got to the point where I get up before the alarm goes off. I get up, sometimes it's 4 o'clock, sometimes it's 4:30, and start my day. I command my morning, because one of the things that I do with our ministry, I post our daily bread in our church chat 7 days a week. And one of the things that I've posted in times past was command your morning. Start your day with God. Start your day getting off on the out of the right side of the bed. Starting your day right. Starting your day in power, right? Not in procrastination. So all that is me becoming more under control, allowing the Spirit to give me the strength that I need to exercise temperance, to be under control, so that I can command my morning, so that I can start my day in power. Start my day in power and not in procrastination.
Just so you know, I wrote that down. Start my day in power and not procrastination.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
go ahead. Yeah, I love that. For me, hold on, I had to look up the fruits to make sure I was doing right here. So which one I'm good at and which one I'm going to need help? Is that correct on what the question is?
It says which fruit of the Spirit in my life reveals maturity, depth, and endurance? Which fruit still needs to grow through deeper trust? So which fruit of the Spirit in your life reveals maturity, depth, and endurance?
I will go with, all right. So for that, I will go with self-control. Self-control in my life is, something I feel that throughout the years I've created and built, and I'm pretty good at. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty good at what I say I'm going to do. I'm going to do. And what I'm going to, get up and be able to control myself. Now that's more recent. In my younger days, maybe not as strong, but and then certain things. But I feel that right now I am very good at it. You know what I'm saying? And doing a great job. The thing that I'm not doing a good job, or I still struggle, or have always struggled with, would definitely be gentleness. I'm learning that my words can hurt. I'm learning that I can rephrase things better. And I've been very, very much conscious of it as of recently. And when I say recently, I would say like the last 6-7 months. I'm trying to get there, get better. Before, I was always like, well, I say what I said, and if you can't handle it, that sounds like a you problem more than a me problem. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I've also been working on, I can still say what I got to say, but I can find a better way to help people digest it, help them receive it. I don't got to take the spoonful of whatever it is and shove it down their throat. I can make it seem like, hey, this might be a good idea for you. You know what I'm saying? And do that. And in that, it's been, I've been definitely trying to stay focused on it, but it's still tough. I still have those flesh things that I still pray about to God on a daily basis to help me and get me better at and be better at doing the things to be more like Christ. And but gentleness is one of my flaws, and I still try to work on my face, because everybody says my face says everything I'm thinking before I even say it, and then I say it. So that makes it even worse. You know what I'm saying? So, I think gentleness is definitely something that I'm working on. But self-control and the biggest things, my fruit of my spirit that God has blessed me with is my kids. I'm very, y'all know I'm extremely happy about my kids. I have pride in each and every one of them, and even my marriage. My kids and my marriage. The position that me and my wife are at now in our relationship, to me, is amazing. I'm very disappointed that I didn't start being the way that I am now many moons ago, because it is a great thing to be at one. You know what I'm saying, on all aspects of your relationship, your family, and just everything. And people can see that, and I think that's the biggest fruit that people do see from me. When people come and visit my house and see my family and see me and meet my kids and stuff like that, they really understand that this isn't a facade. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't, I talk about family and talk about being a great dad and talk about being a great husband, but when you really come in and come into my world, you really see that this is that I'm pretty good at what I do sometimes. So there you go.
Lady,
Pat my own back.
Yes, pat yourself on the back. You do good. I'm the same as you, Rodney. Gentleness is the thing that I am always, working on with God. So he's working with me on that. You laugh, Chef, but it's all right. and because, my family, we are jokesters, we are sarcastic, and we are lighthearted about it. And I can offend people with that type of way of being. And, I'm learning to have the strength that I have and have it under control, because many people, need to see strength and the humility in action. And I am doing my best to be mindful that I need to be gentle. My whole body has I don't want to say aggressive, but it has a strength in it that comes off in a way that I don't want it to make people feel uncomfortable. Um, and that's all I can say about it. That's the only word I can use is uncomfortable. So the meekness, the gentleness is something I am having a difficult time. I've had it many years. I've struggled with this way about myself. I've been told by a lot of people I need to accept the fact that my presence has done something to an environment, and I don't really care for it, because I want to see people truly know God, and I don't want to come off aggressive. I don't want to be a bully look. My name is Lady T because I truly want to know how to be a lady. We are all women are women. You're a woman when you're grown. Everybody can be a woman. It's very difficult to know how to truly be humble in your body as a woman, and and a man too. But for me, it's been difficult because of my upbringing, because of who I am. So that is something I also am, and God is working with me. But for the knowing that is in me, and I don't know how you worded it, Chef, but I have two: love and joy. Like, I am so good with the love and joy God has done. Like, I have an unselfish way about me. I am a giver. I do too much to give, and I have to pull back because I'm not helping somebody grow. Sometimes we do too much, and I have unselfishness about me that I look like a fool sometimes. But the joy that God has put deep inside me is a gladness that can abide every day, every time I go to sleep, when I walk, every time I move. God is with me, and the joy is in me, and not through my circumstances. What my circumstances look like, I still got joy. Y'all might see me yesterday and thought I was crazy, and I probably was, but it was good for me. I had to release what was inside of me. It's like a birthing. God will put things in us that we have to birth out to the world, and it's necessary for somebody to hear. So love and joy is the two that I'll say that I'm I have with me every day.
What about what do you lack in and you feel like you need
gentleness already.
Gentleness.
Oh, gentleness.
That's started out with.
Okay, all right, I didn't hear.
Yeah, that was it.
Need you to pay attention, sir. No, I could have said that gentler. I'm sorry. My bad.
By the way, Walt, yeah, that's my bro. We do this all the time. He just got he got
it's all good, brother.
Yeah, he got to throw a shot at me. 1 or 2, man. He got
gotta love the jokes.
Yeah, gotta love them. But for me is my temperament. That's where my strength is. God has allowed me to not get upset quickly. Just even though in the midst of it's a moment where I'm supposed to get upset, I don't. I'm quick to walk away. I'm not quick to strike. I'm not quick to anger. I used to be that way. I used to be like fighting all the time, but now I'll be like, oh, okay. I walk away quick.
Is that self-control or patience? What would you call that?
I said my temperament. Just being able to do those things, even in the midst of if there is an argument, I really walk away. Just walk away.
I don't see temperament on here.
That's why I asked that question. I was like, temperament. I was like, that's why I say, is it self-control or is it patience? Because you said the fruit of the spirits, and temperament is probably within that. That's why I asked that question.
Yes, it is.
Forbearance.
Temperament.
That's one I got on you.
Yeah,
I got temperament.
I mean, we all use different
Maturity.
Bibles.
Yeah, no, but you got to think about it. Is that not if you're not quick to anger? What is it?
Self-control.
You can use self-control.
Okay.
My temperament.
Temperament.
What?
Even Walter's confused. Don't worry. He does this. He does this to us often.
The wonderful of the spirit is temperance. That's self-control.
Okay, yeah, self-control. Okay, I have to look up temperance for the definition. When I heard temperance, I wanted to hear if it was self-control or patience.
Self-control is one of the words you can use. Just one of the words. That was called. But then
synonym.
Synonym. That's correct. Thank you for the correction. Synonym. It's a synonym for self-control. Seriously, it is.
Yeah.
And Roddy got to take that other shot. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction.
No, so I was trying to help. See?
No, I know.
Look, you see how he attacks me, Walter? See, when I'm trying to help, I'm getting attacked. That's what I'm talking about.
I asked the question because patience can be looked at as endurance and steadfastness through difficulties. That's what I could see. Patience. That's why I asked: is it self-control or patience? But temperance, I have heard the word, but I really gotta focus on the definition of it. So it's mostly with self-control is what y'all telling me.
Yeah.
Yes.
The things that I feel deeper trust in is stewardship, being a great steward of finance. God has given me a great career, great job, great business, and that's where something that comes with a deeper understanding, with being a good steward of the finance that God has provided for me, and not just spending and saving more, investing more, doing those type of things. And that's a big thing. And stewardship is something big, because guess what? God gives you something, and if you can't be a good steward of that, how can you ask for more? And so, do I want more? Of course. So I have to be a good steward of things that God has given me, and that comes with a deeper understanding, and that's what I'm working on. That's my journey right now, stewardship. And also, you just think about this, being a good steward of things and comes with discipleship. And so I have to be able to be a good steward of the things that God has given me. So when it's time to do discipleship with others, I can lead them in that right financial understanding, because guess what? As a Black man, sometimes we don't understand those things. We're not educated. And that's real. We're not educated in finance. We're not educated in, investing our money in something so it can be a residual income. So it can, as well as, generational wealth. And so God says He wants us to be good steward of the things that we have. And so that's the one thing right there that it comes with a deeper understanding for me. Who was that? That's you, Rodney?
Nah,
The
that's not
last,
me, bro.
the last one is, where is God inviting me to obey, even when it costs more, so that Christ's likeness is formed more clearly in me? Read that again for you, Lady T.
Yep.
It says, where is God inviting me to obey, even when it costs more, so that Christ's likeness is formed more clearly in me? Where's God inviting you? So you can hear him more clearly and get a better understanding, even when it costs more. Rodney, so Lady T is thinking.
It's a little confusing in the question because I'm trying to figure out the even when it costs more part.
Yeah.
Walter, hold up. Walter, give him the understanding of that question.
We're talking about sacrifice. We are, when I think about the question, we're talking about a particular area of service, if you will. It could be you have kids and you have a job and your child, they're in high school and they have music lessons. So you have to sacrifice to take them to music lessons, not just paying for the lessons, but taking the time out of your schedule to get them to where they have to go. So that's the price that one has to pay. You're sacrificing time and you're sacrificing money. And sometimes we don't realize what we're actually getting into in terms of the cost of time and money. Because I have 4 kids. I have 3 sons. One of my sons, at the age of 5, after church service, he would go over to the pianist and just watch him. And I noticed that. So I bought him a keyboard. Make a long story short, I put him in to music school. He had a tutor. So that began. I put myself in position, not realizing the extent, what I was doing, of having to get off work, take him to Calvary Gospel Baptist Church on Lyons Avenue, and then wait for him, then bring him home and pay for the class. So we get into things and not actually always counting the cost and not knowing the extent, but you do it because you want your child to progress in something. You know what's good for your child. But once again, we don't always know exactly the extent of the cost that you're going to have to pay. Mm-hmm. If you begin to realize this is costing more than I care to realize, but you're still doing it anyway because that's your child, you make that sacrifice. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. I got it now because I'm going
through it. Go ahead, Lady. Hey, go back.
All right, so y'all know I'm becoming a little bit more communicative about my life. And I don't know if I said this on here, but I've said it to people that there was, and I believe it was this year, a time, it was probably last year, I said to God, thank you for all that you've done. You blessed me with so much. I've helped my family. You put so much in my life. And now that it's just me and you, because I'm not married, okay? I ain't got no man. I said, now it's just me and you. I will follow you and I will go everywhere. Like this was last year. Now, before that, it was, I will follow you and say yes. That's how you and I, Chef, got connected. But mm-hmm. This last year happened. And then bam, I lost my job. Mm-hmm. And that was right there something to say, okay, are you going to trust me? Are you going to follow what you said and trust in me and know that we're going to do things together? And the sacrifice, when we say a job, that is some income. When it's taken away from you and you don't have it no more, and you were comfortable, it makes you uncomfortable and it makes you really tested on how faithful you will be. And I am still faithful. I look at it as I will sell all I have and follow you. I said this it was years ago when we first started, sell all I have, because this right here, this world thing, I want to go ahead and travel. And so I don't have to have a whole bunch of stuff with me, because God has a plan and I trust in it with all of my heart. So when I lost that job of mine that was real good and secure, that let me know God is definitely doing something. I have no idea what it is, and I will follow him. I will not listen to everybody, because everybody's got an opinion and everybody wants me to go in a certain direction. I will follow. He will lead me through everything, and I trust in that. So the sacrifice, the comfortableness that you can have when you have good income coming in regularly, that's hey, you're going to have to do something now. What you going to do? This is where I'm at right now, and I will trust in the Lord. I'm not worried. And if I look like I don't have much, good. I want y'all to think I ain't got much, because I know what I got. You know what I mean? I'm standing by that. So that is where I am right now. So that sacrifice was forced on me. It was not something I had a choice on. So that's why I'm like, I remember what I said, though. I said, God, it's only me and you now. I've done enough for all my family. I've tried with them. I've done for them. I've given. I've loved the men in my life. It didn't work out, but now it's me and you. I'll never forget it. This was last year. And that it reminded me, like, you remember you said that, honey. That came back to my mind. I was like, yes, Lord, I did. And I trust in you. And I put my hands up and I said, I surrender all. So every day I walk with faith, knowing God will take care of me.
Ronnie, before you go, I just want Lady T, I want to say openly and publicly, I'm proud of you. And the reason why I say I'm proud of you is because what you said, they don't know what I know. And the reason why I'm saying it to you guys, it shows her resilience. It shows her obedience, because you guys don't know what I know. And it shows that, and I'm proud of you, because guess what? It's to show the power. It's to show the love of God that you have for you. Just in this journey, to know you in a position to lose everything, but you still standing firm in his word. You still fighting. You still standing on his word. And I'm like I said, I'm commending you. I'm proud of you. I love you. And I got to say that to you, because guess what? It's not for show. This is for people who are broken. This is for people who want and need to hear this, because guess what? You are still resilient. You still have that fire. Some people can lose their job and they be like, you know what? Forget this. They're not doing nothing. They like, I don't feel like it. They lose their faith, but you haven't. You stay firm. You stay strong. And like I said, I love you. I'm proud of you. Keep on doing what you're doing. And I guarantee you, it's going to show. It shows now. You standing on what you believe, and you believe in what you're standing on. And that's nothing but the love of God that's keeping you. And just stay faithful. Don't listen. The enemy is going to keep on trying to prick you, but stay faithful.
Try not to bite his head off,
Hey, bite his head off. I got to say that, guys. I didn't want to take over Roddy time, but I got to say that, because you know what? Because it's need to be said, because I know you in the trenches right now. And guess what? You don't even, like you said, they don't know, but you don't even look like that.
Yesterday I did, y'all. Y'all know.
Nah, you was good yesterday. You was good yesterday. But listen, let me let Rodney go, because I just wanted to say that to you. It was in my spirit to tell you that, and I just know that I love you. Go ahead, Rod.
I guess so. For me, the story is kind of similar to Lady T's, but my wife lost her job in January, and I quit mine in February. You know what I'm saying? And I quit mine because I kept on telling God that I didn't want to do. I did. First of all, for 11 years before that, I told God I wasn't going to do something. You know what I'm saying? I said, look, I don't matter. I'm not doing this. So I got this job, and I had a great job. Most people would look at me like I was crazy for quitting it, but it wasn't spiritually filling for me. It was just money. I make money. It's good. Yeah, I got an open schedule. I can make my own schedule, do all that stuff. I make a lot of money, but I just didn't feel like it was where God wanted me to be. And I said, look, God, I'm at a point in my life where I want to be where you want me to be now. You know what I'm saying? This money's good. This money's great. And then, my wife lost her job, and then God, and I was still complaining. I was like, look, and then God said, look, if you really are ready, quit. And, and I said, I went to my wife. I had to tell my wife, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna quit my job. What are you going to do? I don't even know. And my wife looked at me and we prayed and this, that, and other. And she said, hey, if you're going to do it, do it. And I said, all right. And I quit. My job tried to get me back. I said, all right. Then God, I was like, all right, God. So now I just want to walk through the next door. And so I went through these things. I thought I had all these doors closed. This, that, and the other. They closed. They opened. And then I was like, all right, this is easy. I got a great resume. I'm very good at what I do. So therefore, I'm like, all right, a lot of people going to want to hire me. And a lot of people did. But it still was like, I was still like, well, God, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So finally, I was sitting there and then God said, I want you to do that thing you've been telling me for 12 years you're not going to do. And I was like, really? Mm-hmm. And then he was like, yeah. And then I was like, all right. So I called my boy. And sure enough, doors wide open. Boom. Come in here tomorrow. I can pick where I want to be at. I can do this. How much you want to get paid? Yeah, I got you on that. Everything. Walked in the door. Went in there. And then I felt like, I was like, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do. Everything started off good and things started going south. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to make this story quick. Anyway, quit that job, got a new job. But now I feel like I'm more on the path of where God wants me to be. But I needed to have worked that other job in order for the whole thing to go into the circle. And that's how you know that God is working. Because the job I said I didn't want to do for 11 years, I went and did it. And then when I left that job, now I'm at a job where I am happy and I feel like I'm spiritually, I'm more understand what God wants me to do. The one person that I met from that other job that I built a relationship with without knowing is now the biggest driving factor for this job. For this job to help it to go into that circumstance. And everybody know my goal is to help young men who have made problems, this, that, and this other. But there's one gentleman that I met from my job before that God told me, that to go do this job, and I told God I wasn't going to do it before, and went in. That one person is now the thing that is driving the factor of my new job to keep it to be successful. And I needed to meet that guy. You know what I'm saying? That guy that was at the job that I would not work and I ended up leaving I needed to meet him. And it shows how God works. Because I would have never saw none of this. You know what I'm saying? I would have never saw none of this. And now I can see, okay, that's why I had to be there, because I had to meet him, build that relationship with him. And now he's helping me on this aspect. So, it's just, that was, but it was a lot of things. But the thing about it, all right, quit all my jobs and I was worried. The biggest thing that I was worried about was my daughter going to college. And everybody knows that story. I've told that story. That's why I'm so high right now, because God took care of that. God took care of that. You know what I'm saying? I was obedient. God took care of that. My wife's been out of work since January. She's been fighting against doing what God's been telling her to do. God didn't open the door up. Now she has 2 opportunities doing the things that she wants to do, and her opportunity to do her own business, all without her doing nothing. God opened all those doors for her. And she just walks, and she just gets to walk right into all of them. And it's showing how if we are faithful, we follow God, we'll never see. And I'm talking to my wife now, but now she's seen that I did it. So now she's seeing that, hey, look, I need to walk when God tells me to go these ways. And the crazy thing, I told her, I was like, you've been praying for this for so long. How come you're so nervous now? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, we've been praying for this. You've been praying for this. You've worked to get here. You've worked and did the back stuff. But yeah, you didn't know that these opportunities, you never knew where it was going to go. But now all these opportunities are open to you, and you over here acting shy. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, but it just shows that, you gotta, I ain't gonna say you gotta sacrifice, but the sacrifice is worth it. You know what I'm saying? Take it from me. It is that, I'm feeling so great about so many things in my life now, just from quitting a job that was paying me double. Really, it was paying me double what I'm making now, but I don't need all that money. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy. I wake up in the morning happy.
Yep.
And to me, it's worth every penny that I sacrificed or gave away and everything. And then the one thing that I was worried about was paying my daughter's tuition. God made it so that I could do it. Just because I followed and did the things that he told me to do.
Yeah.
And that is, and to me that right now I can't be sad. You know what I'm saying? I can't be sad. Every time I call my daughter, she's still in school. I'm happy as I don't know what. So, that's just how I feel. That's all I got to say.
What about you? What about you, Walter? You answered it already?
Mm-mm.
What about you, Walter? Will you need to read the question again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I've been caught up in everybody's,
I know. It says, when is God inviting me to obey even when it costs more? You did answer that. You said,
I was making it was like a testimony about my son. But as far as me personally, it began in July for me. In July this past year, 2025, when I took spiritual bodybuilding public. Prior to that, I was doing like private Bible study and just I would talk to people about it. But in terms of going on social media, I mean, I posted some things like on Facebook, but as far as Facebook Live or just posting like short clips of me on social media, I wasn't doing that prior to July of this year. So God basically said to me, I have a bigger stage for you, right? And I realized that it was social media and so forth and so on. And as part of how God was moving, I felt full. In other words, I felt full spiritually to the point where I had to step out on faith and take spiritual bodybuilding public. I've been busy for the past, ever since July, I put it like that. And it's been an experience where I've been coming across people, and especially since I released my book, I've been more engaging on social media, posting this and posting that, basically promoting the book. So I'm having people come at me from all sides, some with good vibes, and some, the enemy is using them. But I just I'm at a stage where I have to be willing to wait longer, right? Because when you author a book, sometimes sales don't take off, so you have to be patient. You have to trust God. I didn't write a book because I wanted to. I just felt led by God to do it. And matter of fact, it was prophesied at least 20 something years ago that I would write books and workbooks, and I'm basically in the process of doing that. So that was nothing that I wanted to do, but I just felt led by the Spirit, and it grew in me. So when I said I felt full, all that was a buildup in me, because we talk about how God is at work in us, both to will and to do of His good pleasure. He is giving me the desire to obey Him, to carry out His will for me. So spiritual bodybuilding was God's will for me. So I have to trust Him, right? He was at work in me. So there was a buildup, and I said I felt full. That was the buildup that God was at work in me doing. So I had to obey what I discerned in the Spirit and go public with spiritual bodybuilding. and I'm looking forward to it because, I tell people this is my last hurrah. In other words, brace yourself. I'm 73 years old. Okay,
Get out of here.
I'm 73 years old.
What?
Hey,
Man,
Walter. Hey, Walter, why you? I was gonna wait till the end. You messed me up. I was gonna tell him. I was gonna let everybody know at the end. Walter, you man.
What?
Yeah.
So like I said, I tell people, who know what's going on with me. This is my last hurrah. I say that because, I done made my share of mistakes. I done made enough for other people. Okay. But God has brought me through all of them. So with that in mind, I realize that I've asked God to give me 37 more years. I want to live to be 110. All right. Now, I have longevity on both sides of my family. So I can expect that to some extent. How God's going to do it, to what extent, I'm just believing that He's going to grant me that request. That's why I guess He gave me these youthful looks. So when I get to be 100, because listen, I done did enough to wear myself out. To I don't wear what I did to myself. Okay, I don't look like what I put myself through, and that's to the glory of God. Yes. So, July of 2025, I stepped out on faith with spiritual bodybuilding. I've gone public, and like my wife said to me, put yourself out there. Because I was hawing and figure out maybe I'll do a podcast where they don't see me. I'll do one of them faceless numbers. My youngest son said, let them see you. They got to see you.
Yeah.
Okay. So here I am.
Well.
I just yelled upstairs and told my wife I ain't eating right. I don't know what he doing. I told her to come down here and see this. She comes down and see this man. He claimed he older than your father. Hold on, I gotta look at this. Crazy work.
Listen, well, for me was my biggest thing was, to see the growth and everything is my sacrifice. I get up early in the morning and I have to be, at work at 5, get up at 3. And so lately in the last couple of months, I've been doing men's ministry at different locations, and it's at 7 o'clock at night, and it overspilled into my bedtime, and I'm be there, my sacrifice, because I want more. I want other men, other fathers, other brothers to grow, and that's a great sacrifice, and it's not for me, it's for the greater good of God, and so that's a big sacrifice, because I always be disciplined to go to sleep, go to bed late. Wife is still up. I'm going to bed. She's like, babe, watch a movie. I can't, but when it's dealing with God, I really make it my duty to do what's necessary. And that has been a big task for me. And in that task, it's going to show growth. And so that's why I do it and being resilient in it. Last night, we was at, no, not last time. Sorry, correction. Monday, we were out in the Middlesex, and that's like 30-40 minutes away from where I live. Start at 7. We didn't get done out of there until like almost 10. And the bishop was like, don't worry, you're gonna wake up in the morning full of fire. I said, yeah, I know. I said, but look, I gotta get me an energy drink. Not the Red Bull, not the Monster, none of that. It's something else, no sugar in it, it's just high in caffeine. But I definitely always devote my time, just moving around, just going to different locations and trying to help other brothers and just love on one another, because that's what we need. Women do it all the time. They have a big organization when it comes down to serving God, and so that's what God has placed in my heart to do. Just get the men together, the fathers, the brothers, the men that's struggling in their marriage, the men that's struggling in their finance. And so that's been it. And God is getting the glory and all that, because in this journey that I'm telling you guys about, I'm always calling out other brothers. Yo, come with me. I'll come and pick you up, right? And the saddest part, not the saddest part, the toughest part is that they don't even return the phone call. They don't have a desire. And sometimes I'll be in my feelings and I'll be like feeling bad because, it's like, yo, this is something that's going to be beneficial for you. And it's like they don't have any interest in it. You know, it hurts sometimes, and that's because of the love that I have for the individual. It's more important to them to do something else versus just sitting there saying, you know, I want to be in the midst of other ministers, other believers that's going to help me grow. And so, you know, that's my thing, far as my, you know, where God is taking me right now, and strengthening me, to be this power hitter, for Him. You know, so you know, it like I said, that's the struggle. You know, when you invite somebody and they don't even call, but the moment you invite them to do something else, they're like, oh yeah, let's go, let's do this. Go out and watch football. And they quick to go watch football, but you don't want to spend time with God and other men that's striving to live for God. That sometimes it hurts. I'm gonna be real. Sometimes it hurts. And that's what God is building me up. And He said to me, listen, it's okay. This is the journey. Sometimes it can be lonely. And that's the tough part. Tough, because it can be lonely sometimes.
Yep.
But in that loneliness, I say to you guys, in that loneliness, that's where your strength comes, because you can hear God more clearly, crystal clear, because it's just you and Him. Man, it feels good to have a brother or a sister beside you, but sometimes God wants you by yourself, because He got something to tell you. He don't want those distractions. It doesn't mean it has to be a negative distraction. It's still a distraction because you're in a conversation with your sister, your brother. You're in a conversation. It doesn't mean that has to be a negative conversation. It's a conversation that distracts you from what God want to speak to you and only you at that moment. And so that, you know, that's big right there. And I want people to understand sometimes it might feel like it's lonely, but guess what? In your loneliness, you can hear God more.
Yes.
You know, that's when we talk about relationship. We talk about intimacy. Intimacy, when you talk about intimacy with your wife and you, it's just you and your wife. So guess what? That intimate is just you and her. And that's the same thing with God. God want us to be intimate with Him. And when you intimate with your wife or your significant other, trust me, it's personal. You get real personal. You know what I'm saying? Real gritty. And you talk about things that you're not going to talk to nobody else about. And that's what God wants you to be.
It might be the singing in the truck, though, because you say you do a lot of praise and worship in the truck. People might not want to get in there and ride with you.
Who?
People might not want to ride with you because you be singing in your truck. I wouldn't. Yeah, that's probably why they don't want to come.
Yo, you a sick dude, yo.
I'm just saying that might be it. It might not be them. It might be you.
Yeah. Well, you might be right. You might be right. Because look, we getting ready to go down to West Virginia. And guess what? It is going to be everybody gonna be sleeping in the car. I'm gonna be singing, driving.
They ain't gonna be sleeping.
They're gonna be
headphones.
Yeah, the kids do that. Well, the kids do that. They say, "Oh, we can't ride with Grandpa. Oh, he gonna be singing in the car." They put I said, "Look, we was going to North Carolina, right? And they had the AirPods on, right? I said, yo, take them out. No. Y'all listen to all this garbage. Take that out." They said, "Oh, Papa, what?" I said, "Take that out. Let's go. We gonna praise. We gonna worship." They said, "Oh, yeah."
He be forcing people.
No,
see,
hold on, wait.
Exactly
he forces it all the time.
I'll never have no problems getting my boys going to Tough Talk or any of our church things. I don't got no problem. I can call them right now. They'll show up right here.
Lady T, you said I'm forcing them, but guess what?
You tell them like, no, you gonna do what I said. So yes, I get it. I understand.
But hold on, you gotta listen to what they listening to. No, their ear gates is important. Guess what? If you allow them to do that, you ain't teaching them.
That's why
you allow them to do that, you ain't teaching them.
I do, but what I'm really referring to is how you do it in everything. When somebody ain't got a smile, you tell them to smile. So you are just that way. That's what I'm saying. You have a forcefulness about you.
Hold on,
he got that New York aggression about God. You gotta calm that down sometimes.
Watch this.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me say this. Let me say this. You said that right, Lady T. If everybody is in a nice mood in the room, everybody smiling, everybody talking, and you got this long droopy face, you think that doesn't affect everybody? Some people don't care, but here I come, and I be, listen, what's going on? Come on, let me see them smile. Let me see that smile. And guess what? Some people will be like, I don't want to smile, but then they think about it. They say, you know what? I'm working. I got all my limbs. There are people less fortunate. They begin to think. Because guess what? There's some people that get up in the morning, they can't move like you.
You're right.
They can't talk like you.
You're right.
But guess what? Huh?
You got that zeal. I can't
That's
say
it.
nothing about it. So I sometimes have to say something about it.
Contagious.
I can't say nothing about it.
Contagious. What I say?
I don't know
What
if
I say?
it's contagious.
Contagious.
I don't know if
You
it's
got-
contagious, sir.
You got the smile.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if
man.
it's contagious either, but you
Well,
got that
hey.
zeal.
All I
about
know is when I get 73, if I don't look like Walter, I'm gonna be grumpy as a mug. That's all I got to say. I'm gonna be mad as a mug over there.
you. Remember,
I'll be like,
Walter.
I'll be like, hey, hold on, God. Like I've been doing good too, bro. I need to look like this brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? He 9, I'm gonna be 73. He gonna be 107, still outrunning me.
Mhm.
But nah, it's all good. Hey, bro.
I want to say something about Chef Dennis regarding what Lady T mentioned too about forcing people to basically liven up. I was thinking about the mindset of a praise leader. I'm sure you've been to a church service when things are seeming kind of flat, and the praise leader, he or she gets up and basically, in a sense, calls out the congregation because of how they sensed what's going on in the atmosphere.
That is so him. Oh my God.
So he bringing out that praise leader in him. Okay, it's changing the atmosphere. So he's basically doing what is him, changing the atmosphere, causing folks to become mindful of how they are and to do what they can do, and that is change.
Yeah.
And look, you know what's crazy that y'all saying that? Let me tell y'all something. Yo, I swear, if y'all was a fly on the wall when I'm at work, let me tell you something. Do you know if you don't know, the word Jesus has power. Trust me when I tell you this. Listen, dumb people at my job don't even sing. They do not even worship. Lady T and Rodney and Walter. When I go in there and work every day, they say, uh-oh, this is 2 hours of gospel music. 2 hours of gospel music. And they like singing hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. They might be playing, but guess what? I promise you this. And you say force? No, guess what? Internally, something is happening. I promise you this.
I know.
The Lord is my savior. He is, guess what? Inside, it's internally, it's changing them. And guess what? I don't do it for me. I do it because I know it's going to do it. I know it's going to change. And trust me, it changes the atmosphere. It changes.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
no, I'm for real.
I just love the fact that Walter brought up, your praise leader. Truly, truly, truly. That is so, so true about you. And I forgot about them. Those people, they are very, very important in the church. And you are truly a praise leader type. You need to go out there and be in the church about that business because you be on it. Okay. All day long, everywhere you go. And it's just, for me, I'm not what you do, so it kind of makes me drag a little bit like, oh boy, please. I do that a lot, but I love you, it's different, but you are truly a praise leader though. You're right.
Thank you, Lady,
for bringing that up.
Remember when you came up and we went out and those people were sitting next to you. I said, how y'all doing? Look, and they just came and started talking to us.
Yeah.
Hey,
I wouldn't go to church with you either. You do that. Nah, I'm good. You start talking, I can't stand people that talk to everybody who's around them.
I don't do that. No,
okay.
It's the atmosphere. It depends on where we at. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It depends
he
on where
do, Lady T. He talk to everybody around him.
I mean, maybe he knows a lot of the people, in the group or wherever you're at. But I have seen him be very quiet and just observe the whole situation, where he don't move at all. He just be watching, looking around. So I've seen him do that too.
That's my heart.
Right.
We're looking around and checking the scenery out. But listen, before we go, we're going to get ready to get out of here. But Walter, I want everybody to know, tell them where they can get your book, your upcoming book, where they can find you and everything. Let them know where they can find you and your book, where it is.
Hey, where we can get our daily bread too. You say you send out a daily bread in the morning, right?
Yeah, on Facebook. I have spiritual bodybuilding. That's one of my Facebook pages, spiritual bodybuilding, and Be the Light. So I have 2 Facebook pages that are active, and I post 7 days a week. So you can go on either one, either spiritual bodybuilding or Be the Light, and you'll see a promotion for the book, which has the link, to get the book. It's on Amazon. And what else was did you want me to
No, your social media, just Facebook.
People can find
right, just Facebook. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not really entrenched there yet, but I'm working on it. But my mainstay is Facebook, spiritual bodybuilding, or Be the Light. And you see my name, so it's all good.
Oh, okay.
But this is what God is having me to do right now. Like I said in July, I went public, and there's no turning back. I told a friend of mine, this is my last hurrah, and I'm going down swinging. Like Paul said, I have fought the good fight.
Yep.
I have kept the faith, and I have finished my course. So that's my attitude.
Yeah,
I'm going down swinging.
that's right.
In about 37 years.
That's right. I love it.
Oh boy.
Well, guys, that is the end of our show. We will see you guys next week. And listen, I pray that everybody has a good weekend and be blessed. We out of here. Peace.
God bless. Thanks for having me.
Sure. We love you.